Hello everybody, it's Andy here from A Media Games. In today's video I'm going to be going over some interaction widgets, and it's been covered quite a lot on a lot of YouTube channels, and I've covered it before for third person characters with overlap events. If the character is looking at an object or near an object it can pick up, then a widget will pop up on the screen. So I've been asked to do a video, so let's continue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. This is an absolute fresh project, so I'm going to go through it all from the start to finish. If you already know how to do this, or you already know parts of it, then skip to the next bit. If you're just watching the video to fully learn, then I suggest watch it from the very beginning. But it's not going to be everything in this video, but I will put the links in the description for other kind of like in-game abilities that you can kind of add on to this code to get the full effect. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our actions. We're going to create a new input action, and I'm going to name this one IA underscore interact. Sorry, my brain wasn't braining then. Right, so I'm going to double click this. We can see here we now have our interact set up. I'm just going to give it a name, detailed description, interact with objects, and then save. And then we need to assign a key to this. So we're going to go to our IMC defaults, and we'll go to mapping and click plus. Then we're going to get our interact that we just created, and then on our interact we need to assign a key. So I'm going to go with E, and then save, and then close. So let's go to our first person content, go to our blueprints, and in here you'll see BP first person. Double click to open that up. Double click to open that up. Hope I actually did it right the first time. There we go. Now in here, this is the default setup. So this is what you should have if you're starting a new project. Yours may look different to this. If you're already in a project and you're already working on one, then it might look different to this. But this is a brand new, fresh project, and this is what you get in the starter content. So down at the bottom here, we're going to make a line trace to detect for our objects. So we're going to go into our blueprint here, right click, go down to where's it gone? Blueprints, go to blueprint interface. I'm going to call this our interact underscore interface, and then open this up, name the function interact interface, go down here, call an editor, click save, and that's all you need to do. And now we have our class set up for our blueprint interface. And then we're going to come out of, let's have a look. Yeah, let's go and do our widget first. So let's create a widget. You can put this in any folder that you want. You want to keep it tidy, but just for tutorial sake, I'm going to put it all in here. Go user interfaces, widget blueprint, user widget, and then this is going to be our can interact pop-up UI for our user interface. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to add a canvas panel. That's not how you spell canvas. There you go. I'm going to drag and drop that on here. This here represents your screen. So for me it's 1920 by 1080. You can see here, this is my screen. So on here we want to add a text. Let's go for a text box. Let's drop that in onto our canvas, but we can drop it here actually. And we are going Excuse me, let's have a quick drink. Okay, we're going to give it a name. So we're going to go, let's just write pick up. And let's make that a bit bigger. And we want to anchor this. So your anchor will lock it in place on the screen so it doesn't, if you don't anchor it and you change resolution, for example, this could end up like down here or something silly. So we're going to anchor it to, we're just done. There we go. We're going to anchor it to the bottom of our screen. We're going to move our anchor up to here, and then we're going to move this down to here, just like so. And what we want to do is background color. We can make it black if we want, so it looks like that. Again, you can have an image or any text. If you want to use an image, just type in image here. You get the image you want off the internet, or you create it yourself, and then you drag and drop this onto your canvas panel or into your scene, and then you just link your image up to that, and that should work the same way. So just for tutorial sake, I'm going to be popping this up on the screen. So I'm going to click compile and save. Let's move this down to here. Save it into our BP first person. So event begin play. And then we want to create widget. And then we want the widget that we just created. So we click on our widget, click this little arrow, and then we can right click, promote to variable. And this is going to be our widget interact. Okay, so that's done. Next thing we want to do is, there's a couple of ways we can do this. One way would be we can use an event tick. Another way is we can use a set timer by event. So for the tutorial, I'm going to use an event tick. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to show you how to do the timer by event. So let's do custom event. And we're going to, I'm going to name this. So interact overlay, and we're going to call this here. So on begin play, it will start the loop, and this will loop this code, enabling us to detect whether or not we hit an object. So let's go out of this and get a set timer by event, and we need to connect our delegate pin, just like so. We want to set a time to 0.001 or 0.01, which we'll do, and set it to looping. Okay, now that we've done that, we want to get our first person camera, and we're going to get forward vector, just like so. And we want to do our widget here, like so, and then we're going to get a valid, oops, that's 1 second, did the wrong one. Hold control and drag, right click, and then we want to get a valid get and connect that up. The next thing we want to do out of this, we want to get a line trace by channel, just like so, and then this will, so how this is going to work, excuse me for coughing, when we start the game, when the player loads into the level, event begin play, so when you begin playing the game, is going to create our widget in the background. It's going to construct our widget. Our widget is going to exist in the world. You can't see it yet, but it will exist. That's what this variable is for, so we can recall it and use it other places. And this is going to start this code here. This is then going to fire a line trace from our character's camera, and if the line trace detects an interactable object, then it will display a widget on screen. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to get a get world location. And this is going to go into our start, just like so. We then want a plus node, so add, one second, add, yep, and we want also a multiply, so let's get a multiply. So we have a multiplier and we have our add. Now what we want to do from here is we want to connect this. Let's move this in the right position, make it a little bit easier to see it all, just like so. So we're going to connect this into here, and this is going to go into here. So our addition node or add node is going to go into end. Our world location is going to go into start. You can double click on the line to get one of these reroutes, so you can click anywhere so you can reroute it. And down here you'll notice that when you create yours, you'll also look like this, and you want a single precision float, not a free vector. So we're going to go to float single precision, and in here we're going to set this to, like, let's say like maybe 400. So this is going to draw a line, or a line trace, a ray trace, whatever you want to call them, like a laser pen. It's going to draw a line from the first person character's camera. It's going to get the world location of that camera. It's going to draw the line from that world location of the camera in the forward facing vector of the camera. So this is the direction the player is looking, for 400 units in front of the player, 400 centimeters, 4 meters. And then this is the end point, and this is the start point. So let's continue. Out of here we're going to get a break hit result. So drag out of out hit like this, and then get break hit result. If it doesn't appear, it might be because you've got context sensitive disabled. So make sure you tick that box, and it should be at the bottom of the list. I'm going to click the little drop down box, open that up. Next thing you want to do is get a branch, hold B and left click, and that's going to go into condition, just like so. Hit actor, has tag, like this, and then we can minimize that and minimize this. Next thing you want to do, actually no, not that one, sorry. You can do that, but we'll do it differently. Does implement hit actor, does implement or interface. Let's have a look. Hit actor does implement, does object implement interface. There we go. Right, so if yours says anything different to this, it's probably just an older version of Unreal Engine. I think it used to just say does implement interface, but I think now it says does object. The interface that we want to go for is this one here. So the one that we created earlier, we can click on that and drop that in there. We need a branch for this. And then we're going to move on with the next step. So the next step is we want to only draw our widget if it's not displayed in the level. So if we hold Control and drag and drop, we want to, there is a node called is in viewport, and what this node will do is detect whether or not this is already drawn in the world, if the player can already see it. And we want to use that so it doesn't continue to try and draw it again. So let's place that there. That's going to go in there, like so. This is going to go into true. And this needs, as this is a boolean, true or false. So it can either be answer A or answer B, true or false, yes or no. And this is going to go into a branch, like so. And that's going to go into true. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to, if the widget isn't already in the world, if the widget isn't already displayed on screen, and it's not in the viewport for the player to see, then we want to then create it out of false. Because if the answer to this is true, then we don't want to create it again, because then we'd have an overlap of widgets. So if the answer to this is false, then we want to create it. So hold Control, drag, drop, add to viewport, just like so, or false, like this. The next thing you want to do is we're going to remove it if it is in the viewport. So out of here, we want a branch, hold B, and then that's going to go into the input of this branch, just like this. And now what we want to do, let's move this out of the way a little bit. Let's pop that there, drag out of this, and remove from parent. And that's going to go in the true, like so. Okay. Now we can connect. Let's have a look. Let's make sure this is right. We should be able to connect the branch here to false as well. There we go. That's it. There we go. So if the, let's have a look, make sure that's right. Yep. So if the widget is already in the viewport, then, and it's true, do nothing. If it's in the viewport and it's false, add it. If it's in the viewport and let's make sure it's the right one. Yep, it's connect this one here. There we go. Let's pop that there. Let's move this down. So if this is in the viewport and it's true, remove from parent. So that should work. Let's compile that and save. Let's go to our overlay. Let's draw persistent, compile it. Let's go into level. So we can see here that it's tracing for our object and it's detecting a surface, but it's not going to show anything because it doesn't implement the interface. So let's create a quick actor, blueprint class, actor. This is going to be our test actor, and I'm going to drag and drop that into the level. Double click, open it up. Let's go add a static mesh cube. That'll do. Let's bring the scale down slightly, save it, go to class settings, go to implemented interfaces, click add, and then we want the one that we created, which is this one. So we're going to search for it, what was it called? Interact interface. There we go. Compile it, then just jump into the level. So we're hitting nothing, and we can see as soon as we overlap the cube, we now have the pickup notice. Now, I would like to leave the video here, because otherwise I'll be kind of redoing tutorials that I've done in the past. But basically, this then obviously will give you a foundation to work off. So you can see as soon as it goes over the object that contains the class settings with the implemented interface, the pickup option will come up. So I hope this helps. Make sure as well, before I forget, make sure that you turn persistent off to none, and then if you go back in and test, you can see it works perfectly fine, but you don't see the laser beam show. So I hope the video helps. If it doesn't, then I'll try better next time. But I hope it helps. Like the video, please, if you like it. Subscribe. It supports me for free, and it takes literally seconds to do, and it helps me massively. They're helping you. So like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye bye for now.